Hi, everybody.
Hey everyone, welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with,
Oberon.
and me, Banshee.
And today it's our TFT's monthly modality message.
Yes, your monthly key to whatever's going on in the month ahead for your
Well,
modality.
it's our own spin on giving you an astrological once a month kind of reading. And so it's based on the concepts of the modalities as they work with signs rather than the elemental associations. Because everybody knows that. And we wanted to do something unique and different. And we kind of came up with the idea of doing a reading based on the modalities.
And for the modality reading, we use the Celestial Tarot. And
So if you are wondering what the modalities are, I'm showing them on the screen. There's three of them: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And they're really the way that we deal with our energies. And so therefore, we tend to fall under certain characteristics. And believe it or not, one of each sign or element, I should say, actually corresponds to one of the modalities.
shall we get
So
on with the
cardinal,
show then?
all right.
Okay, so we're starting off. Well, let me get. First I'm shuffling, and I'm shuffling badly. I have been shuffling here already with the cardinal signs in mind, which we're going to start with. And the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn.
So these modalities have characteristics that put them in their group. So all of those signs you just mentioned have a particular quality that
An
organizes them.
element.
It's the cardinal quality.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. It's the cardinal quality, which means we are the initiators. I speak as one of them, as an
She
Aries.
wanted to say it first, so she was upset that I said it first.
Not at all, Mr. Scorp. You can keep trying, but you're kind of fixed in your ways, if you know what I mean.
Back to the cardinals. Did you want to talk about them a little bit?
I don't know what's to say. Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. We are the initiators in our element. Let's just say that.
And I did that on purpose.
I know. You made me reach for it, Mr. O. So cardinal signs, our first card for the month ahead. And again, this is the Sagittarius season reading. So it is the Prince of Pentacles upright.
And that would correspond to the Knight of Pentacles. So,
Okay. The Prince of Pentacles is about, the Knight of Pentacles is about, what are you doing? Oh,
I don't
I'm sorry.
see it here.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is about what changes you will initiate in this month ahead. I'm sorry. And so basically the Knight of Pentacles is saying that, you may have to try to right some ship in regards to your finances and your resources. It seems like more money or resources might be flowing one way or the other, most likely out rather than in.
Well, I think that if it's talking about changes we initiate, then it might be talking about the idea that maybe certain things need to slow or end, that maybe things have reached the end of their cycle and it's time to kind of move them on. And I get that from the Knight of Pentacles and the idea that it sort of represents a slowing down movement or something like that, that is just sort of changing the focus towards something to different, maybe.
Well, he makes a good point here, but that makes me rethink something I said here, that it may not be money going out and not coming in, but what it might be is trying to right the ship of something that is already kind of slowed. Maybe you're not getting results from some work that you've been doing, proper compensation or the like, or it seems like things are delayed, but there seems to be a stall, like something has stopped with you in the material financial realm. I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah,
but I see your point.
I don't mind that, but I don't think that it's necessarily confined to the material realm. I mean, it could be about other things too, that just some things are you're going to initiate a stagnating process to end them, that maybe you're looking at conditions being ended or being sort of slowed down in your life. That's what you're trying to initiate.
Well, let's see where the other cards lead us.
Alrighty.
Maybe that'll give us a clue.
So the second card is about how you will nurture and cultivate your goals, desires, or relationships. And it's the Devil reversed.
Well, so how will you nurture and cultivate your goals? Well, you have to let something go. You have to free yourself from something that has slowed you down. What is it that's, is sluggish in your life right now if it's not your material affairs? Is it like something in relationships, something is just kind of ground to a halt, or is making you feel kind of oppressed and tied down? But this is about releasing all of that. So I feel that something has to be, you have to release yourself or free yourself from whatever it is that's holding you back.
Well, this card is naturally ruled by Capricorn, as you can see there. And when I think of Capricorn energies reversed, I feel a turgidness. I feel that sort of stagnation, almost like the one I was talking about over here.
Except it's reversed, yeah.
It's reversed. Capricorn normally wouldn't be turgid on its own, so its reverse qualities are turgid to me, is what I was trying to say. And so what I'm thinking, though, is that this is about releasing, again, these forces maybe that are overwhelming you or over-regulating you. And it's saying release them. And of course, so once again, it may be a callback to what we could have been talking about, or I was talking about with the first card.
Well, and it could be with my card too, with the material matters.
Either way.
I feel that, I could see how it could apply to relationships in that, when I think about things slowing down as far as relationships go, maybe the relationships, in order to cultivate them, need a little bit spicing up, doing something different, out of the norm, something to break the monotony and whatever feels oppressive.
That's a good point too.
Okay, thank you.
So, card 3.
How can you gain cooperation or support from others in the month ahead? 7 of Cups.
Well, I think you have to encourage people's dreams and ideas. I think you need to sort of have some parameters out there so that maybe they don't get too carried away. But it is important that they be able to dream or visualize or see things they want, and maybe not have an emphasis necessarily on choosing at this time. Well,
right here, I feel the best way to gain their support is, like he said, by supporting them, but also by, oh gosh, I had something specifically in mind here, and you know how the mind works. It's gone already. So I feel that, I got it. So maybe, if you want their support, you need to support their dreams as well. You need to support their dreams, goals, and desires as well.
Okay. Then finally, card 4. How can my talents and resources best be put to use?
Aw. Oh no, but the rabbit's in trouble. It's the 7 of Swords.
7 of Swords.
Oh boy.
It is upright. Well, I think it's talking about maybe you looking at your more covert ways of doing things, that sometimes the way you do things are not necessarily an approved manner, but it gets results. And so I'm not necessarily talking about illegal, but I'm talking about things that go into a gray area. Somebody might say fibs or white lies. Somebody might say, well, it's just the omission of something accurate. It could be both of those things. It could be neither of those things. It's really talking about your own ingenuity and cleverness to see a way to basically try to use what you know, what you got.
Well, cleverness does not have to be gray. I do feel there's a sense of self-preservation here in some ways. In other words, I think that how you best can use your talents and resources is to really ultimately be looking out for yourself here. Now, on the surface, that seems a little selfish and self-serving. And, you know, I did say here you need to support others' goals and dreams, but it's also, you know, it's also with your better good in mind too. You realize by supporting others, you're hoping to get something that will in turn help you. And so I feel like you just have to apply that cleverness is how can I, you know, overcome my obstacles and things that are oppressing me, you know, gaining others' trust through your clever ploy here of making sure that everybody is feeling, you know, either a part of this or that you also wish to help them and assist them when they need it.
So I
I don't
guess we
know.
should try to do
It's
the
kind of
recap,
confusing.
eh?
Let's try to do a recap. I think I can. All right. So we have the Prince of,
Or Knight.
or I'm sorry, the Knight of Pentacles here, and the Knight of Pentacles is basically
The changes.
yeah. Oh, why don't you?
So let's look at this again. Okay, so we have the Prince or Knight of Pentacles here in the first position. What changes will you initiate this month? I think this is saying really you're going to be overseeing the ending of some procedures or some situations, but you're going to let them happen in an attrition sort of way, maybe?
I feel as though something we. Oh wait, I thought. Well, actually, I wanted you to go through the whole thing, but you know what? Let's just do this. Let's run with it. So the Prince of Pentacles to me seemed to resonate what we said the first time about how things are just slowing down and getting sluggish, and you know, we have to figure out what it is we can do to change that. What can we initiate? What kind of things can we do differently that will break this monotony or the slowing down of things? Maybe money is not coming in fast enough. Maybe certain material goals and needs are not being met.
Well, but to me, this is the change that we are initiating, this process of
But
letting attrition happen.
well, that's your spin on it, Mr. O. I
Okay,
feel that you have to let something go is coming up in the next card, I feel. This is just saying you need to change this inertia. That's where I'm coming from. You're giving more
okay,
of
that's a
a,
good point. That's a
yeah.
good point.
So that's all fine. I think it all fits. Here we have how will you nurture and cultivate your goals, desires, or relationships. And it is by maybe letting something go, but more to the point, freeing yourself from these obstacles that are holding you back.
I think it's also looking at some of your compulsive or semi-compulsive behaviors, and not to have those at all is necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes we just need to know when we need to maybe play it a little closer to our vest kind of thing. And that actually plays into the next card in a way.
Yeah, I'm not done with the devil though
Okay.
reversed, because the devil reversed to me is also saying it is time not just to. I love what he said there, because maybe you are feeding this in some way, this inertia by not letting by letting things oppress you or hold you back from letting things go and moving forward. And what do we have here?
It's the Seven of
What's that?
Swords.
No, it's not.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's the last one. Whoops.
It's the Seven of Cups. We have two sevens, though.
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out. Because, yeah, that could be significant. The Seven of Cups is indicating that, you know, how you can get cooperation or support from others is by supporting their dreams and goals as well, you know. Maybe once you do that, they'll become more on board with, you know, being by your side when you need them.
Right. This would be saying that any dreams matter, all dreams matter, and that those around you who you seek to cooperate with or somehow inspire and cultivate, then you should, you know, allow them to be expressive this way.
And ultimately, we have the Seven of Swords as the last card, which is how can you best put your talents and stuff to use? You really have to, I think this is brain power here. I think this is how can you cleverly approach things in this month ahead? How can you use your mind to overcome, you know, the things that may have been dragging you down? How can you How can you banish them? How can you make things start moving again?
And what I ultimately came up with, it's maybe which I clued there, was playing things close to the vest. Not
Yes.
necessarily giving away all of your plans or ideas. Not because they're wrong, but maybe because you just need to really cultivate them also for yourself.
As Mr. O aptly said, sometimes less is more. And sometimes saying less and, doing things behind the scenes will get you where you need to be.
So that's what we have for the Cardinals.
The Cardinal Signs.
And now we're going to move on to our friends in the fixed signs.
It's a funny situation, Cardinal Signs, because we're so used to being up front and center. But this is saying play more behind the scenes, I think, this month of Sagittarius.
Fixed signs are Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. And one of their qualities or their essence of being a fixed sign is that they generally tend to maintain and hold on to and maybe secure the energies or things that are already there, whether they've just been created or they're just part of that ongoing thing. And so they sort of are like group B after the Cardinals, if you want to look at it that way. Cardinals create things, the fixed signs sort of maintain them.
Right.
Card 1. What are the qualities we need to display in order to make positive impressions on others? And it's the Princess of Wands, which would be like the Page of Wands. And I guess that's really, it's upright. And of course, the Page of Wands tends to be a favorite card for either of us, I think, because it is really talking about the quality of good messages coming, timely messages coming, messages that bring good news about advancements or meetings or people you need to hear from or any number of other situations. It mainly pertains to that field of overall enterprise, maybe a little bit of business, but networking, socializing.
So the qualities you need to display in order to make a positive impression on others is be the positive messenger. Be the positive person. Be the person who sees the glass as being, half full, not half empty. Be the person who wants to, bring about a positive environment here so that, it will encourage and inspire people to be more creative and productive.
So another way of looking at the Princess or Page of Wands is kind of like that they're the herald of dawn, and a herald is also a messenger, and the dawn is always the beginning of new things and maybe hope and stuff like that.
Yes, indeed, Mr. O. Good one. So so number 2 is, what can I share with others or allow others to share with me?
And it's the Five of Swords reversed.
Boy, both 5 and 7 have come up today. Interesting.
I'm wondering if it's just saying that sometimes if we share really some of our pain, some of our depths, our humiliation, our defeats, our sense of feeling lost or alone or oppressed, maybe this could help us be able to relate to others, or maybe we need to be open to sharing that with others too, that maybe we need to understand, at least for this cycle of the sun, that there is a lot to share in terms of our own personal struggles and pain.
Which is interesting, all that sharing of pain, since we have you being the positive messenger here. But I feel that he is onto something, but I think when I first drew that card, one thing popped into, the old brain here. And I think I want to say that maybe what you're sharing, unfortunately, is some kind of shared setback. You may have some sort of shared defeat that you're working through. Possibly. What do you see that possibly
I
where
could see
nobody
that too in
wins?
terms of that, is that because we're not necessarily relating this necessarily to just business or love, but
Right.
it may involve you being in a sphere of influence with friends, family, or other people where there is this situation going on and you have to lean on each other. You have to find a better way rather than maybe eating each other
Other up.
up over this, because a lot of times the Five of Swords
I got
comes into
something.
play with that kind of energy.
So for people who are dissolving businesses, marriages, there's a separation or breakup, it's really safe to say here, even though some people might look like they've come out ahead, nobody wins in situations like this, really. Nobody wins. And so you have to be able to just pick up the pieces from there. It's a defeat you both share. And I'm not saying that's what people are facing who aren't going through this right now, but for those of you who are, I think this message kind of really does hit home for you.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know what to say other than that. That's
That
what
was
popped
pretty
into my
awesome.
head.
And that was really a joint effort, I think,
Yeah.
too. Now, card 3 is the role that your connections or the connections you make, friends, family, others, will play in this cycle. So, what does somebody do that makes them important to you? And it is the reversed Eight of Wands.
Oh. Well, you know what I think is going on here? A lack of communication, a communication breakdown.
It could be that. It could also be saying, too, that maybe we're just not able to sync with people in terms of that message, or even some sort of shared interest or activities. Because a lot of times the Eight of Wands, when it's upright, talks about energy and movement. And when it's reversed, therefore, it talks about dissipation of energy or lacklusterness. And so this could be saying that we need to figure out if we have to sync or match ourselves with others to, kind of bring everybody along or be on the same page to some degree. And how do you use your connections with that, I guess, would be about sharing information, communicating, and, basically trying to work with being together in speed and temperament.
Well, I feel it may be where is that? What role will your connections play?
Right.
Got it. So, what role will your connections play? I just feel there's a breakdown there. Personally, for me, I feel like there's just maybe the connections not being made. That's just for this cycle. However,
That's a good way of putting it, because it is really about what is happening on the ground, and that would speak to that totally. The idea that we're not synced, we're not communicating, we're at different pages.
Yeah, that could very well be good. Well put. So, how will you be able to achieve a balance between work and pleasure this month?
And
Will
we
you?
have the Eight of Pentacles, and it's upright. So it's another 8. So I always like the idea of that synergy there, perhaps.
You know what I have to say about that? It's a work in progress. You're working at it. It's really funny. You have to put some effort into defining that line between work, between pleasure, and maybe you've been crossing it a bit lately, one way or the other, and it's time to work on getting it back in sync.
This may be a crucial time, because the card kind of indicates that there's an eye on the prize, in a way that one is doing or learning what they're doing because they want to achieve some sort of recognition for that. And so this is really saying, you have to be able to be a balanced person to keep your eye on the prize, but you can't negate everything else in your life. And so maybe you have to find ways to bring those things together. Maybe parts of what you're going through can be reinforced some way in your other activities or life. Hard to say, though. So let's take a look at that again.
Let's look at excuse me, the whole thing. So basically, you're starting off with that. It was the page. Regardless of what is going on around you or in your life, try to be the positive messenger in the room. Try to be the one who's going to bring the light to the situation and be really not part of the problems that we're seeing here in some of these cards, but the solution.
Be the herald of the dawn.
Yes, I like it, Mr. O.
What can we share with others or allow others to share with us? And maybe we are in a situation with whoever those folks are where it was just really something rough happening, and we have to learn how to share that sense of, defeat or pain, the sense that maybe if there are things that are being dissolved in business, marriages, other situations, to really castigate against that, no one wins.
Yeah, I almost don't have anything to add because I said what I said earlier, and I feel there may be some breakdowns occurring, and it's how you walk away from it. We forgot that little element of this card here. If you walk away from the situation with your integrity intact, you're a winner anyway.
Okay, so was this the next card, the third card?
No, it was
The Cups.
yes.
No, I thought it was.
Oh wait, you're right. You
Yeah,
put
it
it
was
that
this
way.
one.
I'm
So
sorry.
this is our third card, which is the reversed Eight of Wands.
Yes.
The role that our connections play, and we felt that maybe
There's a disconnect.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's a disconnect.
Yeah, that things are not really there with our connections. We're not synced. We're not on the same page. Some of us maybe are just starting to pull it together. Some of us are ahead. It's a mess.
It's kind of a mess. I'm sorry about that. Fixed signs is just is what it is this month. But how will you be able to achieve a balance between work and pleasure? Well, put in work on that. It's a work in progress. You consciously make that delineation between work and pleasure and make sure, you're giving time, the necessary time to both.
Keep your eye on the prize, but all work and no play makes you a dull person. To mix the metaphors.
Nice mixed metaphors.
So that's what we had then for the fixed signs. And now we're going to move on to the mutables.
Mutables.
The feeling is mutable.
And it is for the mutables. Absolutely.
And of course, the mutables are Sagittarius, Pisces, Gemini, and Virgo. And of course, you can kind of see maybe some of those qualities that could be in common there, maybe to different degrees or different spectrums of the band overall. But the mutables are basically the kind of folks who take whatever was created and then was fixed and monitored, and then they say, but we could tweak it this way. We could see that the energies are making it move that way. And so they're the ones that kind of present what will happen and occur to make things ready for the next cycle. At least that's what we say.
That's what he said. It's not that I disagree.
I know
He
that.
said it.
And I see the Sun Man, our resident mascot, who's been quite a presence lately.
You shouldn't have even mentioned names.
He's right here.
Yeah, okay. Because he'll jump up now.
I know that, but there's nothing to stop him.
So, how will you mutables need to shift your perspective during this cycle? Well, it's a time, I think your perspective, excuse me. I think it's time to, instead of being silent, instead of going within, it's time to, wow, that shook the table. It's time to be outer. I lost my train of thought here. We had a cat disruption, sorry. But at any rate, the moon is reversed. So it's time to shift your perspective to more, not your gut level feelings, but your mental acuity.
You may have to look a little bit harder for really more intuitive kind of things going on. You may have to also just consider the fact that maybe there are things that are happening around you that you're not aware of. It's not necessarily covert plans, but there are just some mysteries going on. And so you might have to try to open yourself up to noticing things more, whether it's, a spiritual thing or whether it's just the things going on around you. Like maybe somehow you're just a little bit abstract. You're getting too much into the holiday season. It could be, distractions causing that.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say. I feel personally it's about just really more using your mental faculties over your intuitive. That this is going to predominate, your focus this month. This is where you're going to be shifting your perspective. Maybe, to capture some of what he said here, maybe it's because of all the different things we are dealing with the holidays, end of year stuff. Sometimes people are getting rid of, not getting rid, but cleaning house and donating things to people and stuff like that. So our focus shifts to more, physical realities and less the intuitive and psychic things, I feel.
Well, it is the darkening time of year, so a lot of times we just turn to more serious, mundane thoughts, and that could include, this idea about being more practical and less about, the intuitive things there too. That we're
Sorry,
looking at
keeping the
all
cat.
the real things we have to think about. If you're a person who has a business, you have to think about getting your year ready for taxes and mundane things like that.
I will be leaning forward now, keeping Sunny from
Oh
knocking over
dear.
coffee and water.
So, card two, how are others' emotions affecting you? And you have the Page or Princess of
Sunny.
Swords, but they're reversed. And I think that others, maybe they're boorish to you. Maybe they feel disconnected in a way too, because maybe they don't really have social skills. You may feel that other people are trying to relate to you, but they don't really have a sense of being diplomatic or being graceful in how they express things that you might have in mutual things too. So it could be, I don't know, part of this whole, darkening time of the year kind of thing with people's thoughts changing to other things.
There's diplomacy, there's intellect, there's different things involved with the Princess of Swords. I think that, or the Page, I feel that, it's kind of interesting. It's semi complementary with the other card, except this is how others' emotions are affecting you. It's possible because maybe they really, there is some people here who are acting like they know more than they really do. I'm not going to say they're an imposter, but they're putting on airs and they're putting on shows, and maybe that's where this card comes in here, where you have to use some of your analytical skills and abilities to kind of compensate for their lack of knowledge here, and try to be diplomatic about it. I'm going to say there's that lack of diplomacy in that card. Try to be magnanimous. You may realize, well, they're just faking it until they make it, kind of thing. And so why not just kind of bolster them and play along a little bit, but fill in the gaps for them?
Well, I think that, this talks more to them than really the effect on you, but I think that maybe there's the idea that there's some immaturity levels here and that
Yes.
it does, affect you a
Yes.
little bit because sometimes it just sort of makes you want to, retort back the same way. So you have to try to be the more diplomatic person in the matter. Don't let their bad emotions or figurines make you less polite or what your natural behavior is.
Okay. So, what do you need to know to find out to better position yourself for success this month?
And it is the Two of
No.
Wands, and it's reversed. So the Two of Wands may be saying that you have to revise or rethink some of your plans. You may be looking at some things and realizing that they didn't quite work out. So it's really about a review. I think that what you have to do is review where your plans were going, maybe also reviewing, what you actually felt you had control over, because it's possible that maybe this control has shifted or will be shifting.
I I can't argue with that at all. I
Thank
feel
you.
like there needs to be a revision of plans. And really, to me, it really kind of fits in with the rest of the cards.
Okay.
But I think when we recap, we'll try to put that all together. But clearly, there is a need to revise something, and I think it's due to some situations here.
That'll be
To me,
interesting.
this kind of smacks of, it might be work related, but it could be relationships. But I almost almost feel like it's work or some material related matter. Let's see what the last card is to be sure.
So card 4 talks about the kind of adjustments you may need to make this month, you will need, in order to be more effective and achieve success.
No.
And I saw Banshee shaking her head there out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah, he wants to get in the gap here.
Okay, well, I'm going to take care of him. You can start.
I can? Okay.
If you want.
So we have after all that talk about it being about material stuff, here's the Prince of Cups.
Here you go.
The Prince of Cups is upright. The Prince of Cups is, did you just?
I clapped my hands.
You did?
Yeah, I went like that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you thought I beat him?
No. That's not what I thought.
Cats.
That's not what I thought. It was something else anyway.
I see. Oh, you thought I had a little issue?
No. Not that either.
And we're on Virgo too, so you know. The Virgo card.
Oh dear.
I did not do that.
What a crazy
I had control. Sorry, Virgos.
Sorry, mutables here.
Sorry,
We're getting back
everybody.
to it. And look, it's mutable water. Mutable water.
Okay, so the Prince of Cups, you know, he looks like the Page of Cups, but would he be more like the Knight of Cups?
He is the Knight of Cups. I said Page of Cups, and I'm sorry about that.
But doesn't he look like
He
the
does.
Page?
But
Somebody's a
remember, princesses are
knight. Pages.
the pages.
I'm just trying to decide what makes him a knight because he looks like the Page, really. But okay, I'm willing to go with that. I mean, if we're wrong, we'll correct it in the teletype underneath here. So it is the Knight of Cups.
Yeah. Well, remember yeah.
I think that what that's saying is that you have to maybe adjust yourself to being a little bit of a softer, open personality, more compassionate, because the Knight of Cups talks about the coming or goings. It could be romantic matters, but for the sake of this reading, it's more generalized. It's the idea of being compassionate, goodwill, benevolent, humanitarian, trying to be peaceful with people.
Well, you know, the adjustments you need to make are to try to be the emotional, the center of balance in the room emotionally, and also try to get a picture on, you know, what may be out of balance here. I don't know. I want to go through the whole thing.
Okay, so let's do our recap then.
Let's do our recap. We had that disruption, and it kind of has thrown me off my game.
But our first card was the Moon reversed. How will we need to shift our perspective? And Banshee thought this was more about...
Well, I really thought it was more about intellect over psychic things, that, you know, this is a time to apply, you know, your mental faculties to situations. I need to see the question again. So your perspective needs to shift if you're somebody, and I know it's the dark side of the year and all of that stuff, and we are into it, but for this period of time, your mental faculties are really important here.
And I felt that shifting your perspective to maybe consider that you need to be aware of things happening around you, whether they're psychic or earthly issues that you need to know about.
And what's happening around you with how others' emotions are affecting you is the Princess of Swords here. You know, I think that maybe... now in retrospect, I'm looking at this, I'm going with what I said, but a little differently. Others are kind of feeling like they've been exposed in some way, that, you know, they maybe were trying to pretend they had more knowledge. I've said this before, so this is how I'm applying it now. They had more knowledge and stuff in a particular area than they really did. And so people are saying you're a phony, you know, or something like that, or you lied, when really they did not mean to, you know, that. They were really trying to just make themselves look a little smarter than they are. And so I feel here, this is where maybe you could give them a little help and assistance. You could use your intellect to kind of fill in the gaps for them and, you know, prop them up a little bit, provide them with a little knowledge, or, fill in the gaps that other people are questioning here so the pressure is off of them.
I think you're feeling that you have to be better than their level of possible immaturity or callousness. And so this is how their emotions affect you, is that you want to sort of be more of a mentor towards them.
And so what do you need to find out to better position yourself for success? Well, basically, I think you have to retool. I think that whatever's going on here is making you rethink where you're at, either with a relationship or with a business kind of thing, or a goal of yours. It's time to maybe rethink plans or re-strategize.
I think that pretty much too. I think this is really the time to look at what happened and see that there are changes to be made. It's very likely too that maybe some of this is interplaying in the fact that you had trust levels, and maybe that trust level affected how things deployed.
And
Not that it was malicious, but just maybe you trusted somebody who wasn't really capable of doing something for you.
I can also see how this applies to relationships. I want to go back a little bit here, because it could be somebody maybe that you've recently met, or even if you are in a relationship now, perhaps some things are being revealed about them that you did not know before, and maybe they were covering up because they were ashamed, or they felt like, you would feel less of them. And so now it's time to re-strategize. Where is this taking you? Where is this leading you? Right?
So finally then, with that Prince or Knight of Cups, the adjustments you need to make, I think, are really being open to the idea that there's an emotional membrane going on right now, and things maybe are opening up, and it's a good time for you to be able to apply some compassion and benevolence to helping people out, or to seeing that maybe you're sympathetic to others too. That sometimes people help us out because we appear more vulnerable to them too, and it's not necessarily a bad thing to show that you need a little help too.
Well, see, now that the cat disturbance is gone, I have a different little spin on the Knight of Cups here. I feel like then, after all is said and done here, that, this could involve personal relationships, this could involve your goals, and maybe it's time here that you decide, what you really want to do now. Do you want to stay? Do you want to go? Do you want something new, or do you want to refresh this and give this a restart? Now that you really have a better picture of what's going on here.
That's pretty fascinating. And not that this is about mutable signs per se, but they say for many of us, no matter what sign we are, age or circumstance, as we approach these holidays, this is a volatile time for some relationships, because there's so much stress on people during the holiday season. And maybe it's different in parts of the world where the Christmas or similar type holidays are not celebrated, but there's a lot of emphasis on being, your almost perfect self. And some people
can't meet that,
and they will tender that, or they can't handle the expectations.
Yeah.
So this reading for the mutables could have been about that, but in general, relationships take a little bit of a hit during the holiday times.
So keep that in mind, mutables, but see if this applies into any other area of your life. And that's what we have for our monthly modality message.
And we actually have gone way over time.
Right, but we had a little break with the cat disturbance,
Absolutely,
which we will edit out.
Maybe even what we're saying right now, who knows? So if you don't see this, then you didn't see this. So.
But thank you for joining us for this program, and do check out our other content. And we should just cut it off while the cutting off is good, Mr.
Yeah, we're going to see you again in another month about for the next modality. We're going to be moving into...
That would be in the winter solstice, wouldn't it?
Capricorn.
Yes, so, winter solstice.
And of course, there'll be all kinds of holiday stuff elsewhere going on our station as well.
Take care, everybody. We will see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.